Hey there friends, this is Bonnie Log Cabin Stitcher. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my sewing room. And now I want to say welcome to my life because now I'm sharing more and more about me. There's so many amazing FlossTube and quilting videos out there. And when I watch them, I really love to hear a little bit more about the person's life and just all that stuff, just like I was hanging out with them. That was the very first, Shanda was the very first video that I watched, Shanda Quilting in Idaho. And I was just amazed that it was just a kind of a video that was just talking to me like I was just hanging out with her. And that really impressed me. And that's what I want to do, is just share about me as if you were here. And it's so fun seeing the comments of people saying they wish they were my neighbors, they wish they could hang out with me, and I love that. But I thought, of course that's not practical, unless you move next door to me. But when you're visiting with someone and you're hanging out with them, you're just sharing who you are and the things that you love. So that's how I want to do these videos and have always tried to do them. But I think because I have changed during the year that I wasn't with you in 2025, and hang out with me at the very end for the good stuff. I have something I think that you'll like to share with you there. And I'm just doing these. So here we go. I'm not going to push stop. We are rolling. So this I'll talk about in the next quilting video, but it was funny last night. I took down the quilt that I had hanging up. I put it somewhere. Oh my gosh. Where did I put it? It's right here. So this was one that I had up on my last video. Primitive Pieces by Linda. It's called Me and My Shadow. And I put a link always in the description box. I'll put information on the quilts behind me and as much as I can about the things that I'm showing you. Whoops, went down on the floor. So this one is called, let's put this down. This one is called It's Old Pattern, Button Up Buttercup. This was one of the first patterns that I bought. And when I fell in love with Lynn Hagmeyer's Kansas Troubles fabrics. So this one was done, as you see, like that, with another row in there. Probably, I usually will check on things before the video, and I just like literally grabbed this right now. So if this one is still available, that would be super cool, but it may not be. But there are so many amazing quilt patterns out there. But it was fun because you made templates and it was 3 layers of fabric and it was super fun. So watch the quilting video that will come up sometime after this date and I'll share about that one. Let's see. Something I always like to share with you, the fun ways that I find of organizing. I really got into both cross stitching and then shortly after that decluttering, minimizing, and now what I call the simple life at the same time. And I will show cross stitching. It's all sitting right here. But I wanted to share with you, it was just a way. Okay, so this, even though it's a chart, it's the free chart that is going to be coming up soon for me. This is May Day Sampler with Thy Needle and Thread. It was a free chart on her blog spot. So I keep my, in this plastic thing, which I can even slide behind one of my wood boxes, I keep in here my free charts that I haven't kitted up yet. These are, look at, see, I have done a lot of stitching. These are my stitched cross stitch charts, whether they were free or purchased. And then I'll have some embroidery stuff back there. But this is just, I find the more organized I can be, the less time I waste trying to find something, or the clear mind that you have when there's order. That's what I learned along the way. Are you here for that? Or are you here for the stitching? I bet you're here for the stitching. So I I also thought, since I've been playing around with editing and actually having more fun with it, before it was just like, oh, you know, push this button, what's it going to make it do? And now I'm hanging loose a little bit more and just trying things and seeing how they work. And I really love, I love Christy Green, but I love also on Daisy K's Primitives, which we're not pushing stop. Daisy K's Primitives, which is Christy's video channel. I love how she shares her decorating. And I thought, oh, I pull from that so much on things that I want to do. How about if I just share that with you too? So I'm going to play around with trying to put videos, the picture, you know, the pictures just stream together and then it makes this video. That I'll show you because I love seeing how Christy decorates. And then I've always loved videos and I love Pinterest. So I wanted to share with you because I do talk a lot about my love of collecting things. So that's what you will see either before or after. I haven't figured out what it is. I'm going to do. And then now I'll show you all the things that I shared with you. So it's almost St. Patrick's Day, thus the green. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've just got to get this up and out so that you can see St. Patrick's things before St. Patrick's Day is over. So this is one that I had, I think I finally put this together last year in 2025. I talk all about these pineapple 6-inch pineapple paper pieced blocks. That's a mouthful, isn't it? That will be in one of my quilting videos, the last one I did. But again, if I hopefully if I mention something, I'll pop that in down below. So click that see more stuff and I've got that loaded up. But this is the kind of stitching I do. These are the blocks that I've just been having so much fun with and combining them with cross stitch. So this is a free pattern. There's so many amazing free charts out there. That one is from Lori Brecklin of Not Forgotten Farm. And I'm trying to get super organized. And let's see, is it going to pay out? I have this right here. That pattern is called Shamrock Basket. And it's on her, I think it's Farmhouse Not Forgotten blogspot.com. Again, check the link below. I'm also figuring out a way how I can put the description, you know, the linen, all that kind of stuff in the drop down below as well. But just in case you really wanted to know right now what it is, it's a 32 count doubloon, picture this plus, I think. And it has Grits by Weeks, Charcoal by Weeks, Polywog by CC, whatever that is, and Piney Woods by Gentle Arts. And there you go. I did it. All the information. Now what am I going to do with this? Okay. What do you guys want to see next? See, that's what I think. Oh, if you were hanging out right here with me and I could see you with my eyes, what would you want to see next? And I hope you get that. Like when you're watching these videos, I hope you see how much I just want to share in my funny, imperfect little way. I just want to share with you. And here we go. Let's share another one. So this is one that I had shared before. So this is an older one. I think I did this in 24. This is another free chart. I think, my goodness, I think most of the things that I've been sharing have been free, which I have certainly bought lots of charts, but you know, you get in a groove. What am I doing? I don't need glasses. Okay, there's the back. There's the front. I think this was the very first one that I really found that 100% cotton batting, and I'll link that below. And I talked all about that before, how I'm doing things different. This was still with the pokey corners, and then now I do them more rounded. So what is this? This is Lucky Shamrock's Freebie by Threadwork Primitives. So that one, it's on 32 count, vintage country mocha. I can't tell. It's got funny light. I don't know if I did 2/2 or 1/2. I'll put that in there because I didn't write that down here. And will I edit that out? Probably not. So just the clover and urn. I'm reading this and I don't even know what I'm writing. So we'll probably just boom, edit that part right out. And I will put the information in the drop down below to make it a little bit easier. So what do we have next? This one I did, I think right after St. Patrick's Day last year. I tend to do that a lot. I'll stitch in the season and afterwards. Freebie again. This is your freebie day. This is La-Di-Da, and it's a freebie alphabet with hair chart. So you're saying, I don't see a hair on there. So that's not. I switched out, there's supposed to be a rabbit right here. And I switched that out with another free chart. Lucky, see? Aren't we lucky? We get so many free charts. This one, I'll link it below. I only have part of it. It's the ones where Plum Street samplers with the mama rabbit and the babies, but they were holding like balloons with the clovers on it. But I thought they were perfect because if I'm looking at the chart, yeah. So according to the chart, these were on there and I thought, oh, cool. That just fits right in there. So I'll link all that down below. And I believe this was Bullfrog, one of my green favorites. And this is Sand. So is that 32? I did good. 36 count Sand and Bullfrog by Weeks. So I'll share those two charts down below. But I like this because I think I may do it with the hair on there for Easter. But these letterings, the lettering looked Celtic to me. So I just thought, oh, that'll be cool in green. So that's one of my cool green ones. And what else do we have? Okay. Then, where's the other guy? Okay. So we're going to have that there. Now that, I'm going to try to lift this up carefully. And in the pictures, whether you've already seen them or will see them, this is how I have this guy displayed. So let's take some of these things off. I love going to, and I really don't shop much anymore. So some of these I found before we came out here, but I like collecting old spools of thread. I've always loved them. I have some that I got from my mom. And then these were fun. I remember when I got these in California at a little thrift shop. Just small things. So they were fun. And then this thing, this is my grandma's thimble. You know, it's funny, even though I'm, I think, larger boned, I've got narrower fingers than most of my family. We're all tall. But this is my grandmother's RDH thimble. I don't really remember her sewing. She knitted a lot, but I don't remember her sewing. And then I love collecting old buttons. And then I had this from one of my collections as well. But this is what I wanted to show you. So I saw this done by, I think it's Nan Lewis, and it was on Pinterest. Pinterest is my thing. And I love getting ideas from that. So she took, so that's from that chart. That's from this chart, the free chart. And then she just took that portion and did that. So I did a different green. I'll put in the colors if I wrote that one down. Oh, I know. That's what it meant by just the urn. So if I have this, I'll write it down. But I for these dark colors, I tend to like Weeks Onyx, Weeks Charcoal, and now one of my new favorites is Garden Gate. I think it's by Gentle Arts, but sometimes when you get it, it has more brown tones. Sometimes it has more charcoal tones. So now I'm just getting more skeins. So whatever tone I want, I can pull from that. But I like how it gives it that bit of shading. So it's fun pulling the different buttons. And those already had, sometimes I'll sew them on, but I think those already had the threads on there. So I probably just glued it on with the E6000. I tea dyed or coffee dyed this lace, and I think I got this lace at Hobby Lobby, and I have wool, so this was actually from a real wool vest, and I had that on the inside, but I was going to make it into a hanging pouch and it looked funny, and then now it's really stiff so it doesn't fold over. So she had it just like that, and I thought it looked kind of weird when I had it last year displayed, and that's where I thought, okay, have it open with the stuff on there to make it more fun. So that's why I thought if I share how I decorate, it might be fun for you guys to see. This is also in the pictures, and I had shared this one before where I literally poked holes and sewed that button on. And then this is one of, and this was just a blackbird. I believe it was a blackbird. I tried doing something, didn't work out. So this was just like a little abandoned piece. And then I turned it into the stitching box. So coming up will be a whole video just about stitching boxes. I am asking questions. No, I always say that funny. I'm asking you to shoot me questions in the comments on things that you would like to see, how I'm doing them. So I want it to, it's probably going to be a long video or a two-part where I show you all the ways how I come up with concepts, how I actually do the literal stitching. Not the stitching. I'm already thinking about what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go for a walk before it gets dark. So how I do the painting, the sanding, the brie wax, all that. So shoot me your questions, and I will also post under this video down below 3 of my recent videos where in the video I share different things about the paints, the wax, the sanding, all that kind of stuff. But that's why I want to do one cohesive video or 2 videos explaining everything, because this is my new big thing, is the stitching boxes, whether it's paper mache or antiques, and I'll show you up ahead some ideas along the way. So there we go on that one. Now my last real St. Patrick's Day, I don't have much, and I don't know that I did anything new this year. I was going to, I have now project bags where I have like things that I really want to make, all the St. Patrick's Day, and I think they're all freebies, charts that I wanted to stitch, and then I just got rerouted because this is the big patriotic year, and both Shanda and Christy are sharing all these patriotic things, and I thought, oh, I got to get going on some. So I thought, okay, we're going to do some patriotic, and I have been doing patriotic stitching, and I will make a whole video. I'm trying to do things a little bit slower, calmer, and I'll show you some of the patriotic stitches that I'm going to be doing coming up. So this is my last, and this is an older one, of St. Patrick's Day. So I have stitched all of the Beggar series by Threadwork Primitives. So this is Beggar's Luck. And I had this chart also in that bag because I thought you have a cool chart, and there's not a lot of St. Patrick's out there. So you designers, get on it. So I thought, oh, this is a cool clover. These are cool clovers, and just different ways of using that in other designs or just on their own little stitching box. So there you go. That one I did, and I'll share the details. They were all on Vintage Country Mocha, but some of them were 32, which I think this is, and that's why it's like just barely fits in there. So 32 Vintage Country Mocha. And I'll share the threads in the drop down, but I don't want to waste the time with you on sharing all the stuff that I'm going to put down below. So also what's going on now, so today is, I don't know, 11th or 12th. We have changing of the season. So here I live in Montrose, Colorado, and we have the robins are so cool. Always reminds me of Mary Poppins. But I started hearing the robins maybe 2 weeks ago, and I thought, oh, they're coming, because we have some trees in our neighborhood. When I go walking, I'll see them. They have little berries on them. But then I started hearing them we have evergreen trees. I started hearing them but not seeing them, and then I saw them as I was walking in my back area for the first time, I think just yesterday. So I was on the roll for robins, and I thought, if I could be more, I don't know, more streamlined, instead of showing you all these random things, I want to show you more themes. So in the video that I have of my stitching and the decorating, I started doing St. Patrick's Day and robins in the part of the house that I have my changeover seasonal things. So this was one of the first robin things I did, and I have a lot of Not Forgotten Farm. So this was a Not Forgotten Farm chart. I'll tell you what it is in a minute, but I want to show it to you first. So this was one where I used, when I remember when I was trying these threads for the first time, and I was really frustrated because it was a Valdani 6-strand thread, which was breaking, and the variation is weird. And then I figured out how to do it, and I loved how it turned out. And I love tabs. Or the tongues, or whatever they would be called. I love these on different things. But I loved how this turned out, and I didn't lay it out right. So instead of opening sideways, it has it where it opens like this. So I have a lot of fabric, and most of them are just small pieces of fabric. So it works out good for finishing things. But I thought this is so cool for a fabric that looked like nesting material. And then I have wool, and so I did the eggs. So where's that chart? Here we go. See how organized I am? So this is the chart, and I am pretty darn sure it is still available. And what is it called? Folk Bird Needlebook. So that's the one. And she even has where she showed like that, but it was supposed to go sideways. And then I generally, because I use, when I'm doing quilting, these are some things that I use. So I generally like a little pocket, stick scissors in there, all kinds of stuff. So there you go. One of my older robin things. And another older thing. So I have a stitching box. It may have been one of the first stitching boxes that I did with one of my dad's cigar boxes. And this is the other portion of that chart. So this is a Blackbird Designs. And I think I did it as charted, but again, I'll put all the information in the drop down. I really loved how this turned out. And this is a vintage sand dune. I think it's a 32. But this is one linen that I really, really love. And this is, so I did this. So this is Pumpkin Blossom Sewing Box. I did this just like that. And then this guy. And so that's what you got. And what book is it from? It's from one of the older books. And it's the Loose Feathers Autumn. I started these a long time ago. I have I have the series of 3. And I started that project, and I need to get to it. But this one, I love I love the colors on there. And this is a chenille that I got from Dames of the Needle that I stitched on. And I love those colors. They're fun. And then there's the back of them. So that's one of my bird things. Now, one of my first cross stitch things, I think it's on like my first cross stitch video, FlossTube #1, is this chart, Little Wren. And I had seen Carol Saltbutt Stitcher stitching it. And at that time, I used to breed birds, and I had birds for years in California. You could have them outside. And I have always been a bird lover. My dad was in the Audubon Society, taught us to identify birds, love birds. I've always been a bird watcher. And I'm into identifying them way less than I am just to sit and stitch and watch the birds. Whereas, oh, let me go get that. So this is in the video that I did, the photo video. This was one of my first finishes. And it was a kit. So the only way I could get this pattern at the time from Scattered Seed Samplers was in their yearly subscription thing. And the first year is the only one that I did because I stitched 3 of the 5 charts. And I thought, I'm not going to start a new subscription until I get all of those done because they were all darling. So I did this one. And yes, it is hard finishing on an oval. I have stitched for a lot of years, and I was slow and careful, and still it comes out just kind of wonky. So I did the chenille on here, and I loved it. It looks like the same chenille from before, and I'm pretty sure I did the kit. And this was like when I was so new. I just used all of this, and this is where I came up with my stitchy setup, the whole shebang. So this one, I really like how it turned out, and you cut at the oval shape. So, oh, and this is the other fun thing. I am really on the lookout for more of these. I've had this forever. Use it in all different places, but I have a fun idea for a stitching box with this. But because I love birds, I need more of these, even though I don't want to be shopping. I'm going to be on the lookout for those. So same thing with this one. This is Spring Messenger. Let me show you this. So this is Scattered Seed Samplers, Spring Messenger. And she shows this one without. So this is totally normal, where it is a little bit of the wonky, kind of like your skin, a little bit wonky. And it's really hard to get that. So Christy was the first one I saw sharing about the Etsy shop, Purple Paper Mountain. And you can get all kinds of trims, smaller and in small amounts, which is perfect for what we do, just the finishing like this. So this is the back, this is the front, and this was one of the limited editions. So sometimes I love this chenille, and other times it's like, ooh, that's not quite primitive. Do I want to take it off? I might. I keep trying to squish this because this was before I did the cotton batting. This is what I always do. If you were hanging out with me, this is what I would do. So I love how this turned out. This is the Vintage Country Mocha, but because it wasn't a kit and I didn't do all the DMCs, I wanted, because the Real Robins, I love their coloring. So I'll put this, I think this was just rust, and I'll put this in the description box. But one of the things, because I love sharing the tips and tricks, the things that I do to make things look this way, like if I'm cross stitching with a variegated thread and the end of it is the lighter or the darker, like as you're stitching, I probably started up here and came down, and this is the darker part. So maybe that thread ended at this point and I wanted to keep it going. I stitched it a while ago. Then instead of going where I would start at the light and the dark again, I will start with the darker end and make it lighter so it looks more like that natural shading, the light and the dark. Oh, I've got something else on my wall. and I'll show that in a second. That does that same thing. I just realized I had another robin thing. So I really like how this one turned out. And that's one of my favorite parts, is that I like that. So I'll put that in the information below. And then, whoop, let me pop out again. Like this room this is my curated room. All the things that I want to see, all the saturation of stuff everywhere. This is the only room that has that. The rest of the house is more minimal, more simple, open walls, the windows looking outside, our beautiful hardwood floor that we did not put in. And I want that to show, but this room, we got stuff. But all that stuff is my favorite, and it all matters. This one I have shared, I made this long ago, but see on this one, it looks almost like watercolor, where this is wool and it's a Maggie Bononomy. I'll have to pop in the information and maybe I'll find the video. Oh, I know, there's a thumbnail that I see that has this on there. So, but look at how when I chose this wool, this is the dark part, this is the lighter part. So it looks just like what they do with watercolors. So I love those details. The details to me are what make this whole hobby rock. It makes it so amazing to be able to make something with the details that you want. But sometimes that really hangs me up too, because those details, I was sharing a Blackbird designed snow garden. And because I chose a linen that looked like the picture, but it obviously wasn't, the colors that I was choosing, the called for colors, they weren't showing up. And I was saying I'm just hung up on it. And someone else, one of my other viewers, was saying same problem. So it happens. But I don't want it to keep me from getting something done. So that's the challenge. But I've got to be so into, okay, I've got good lighting and I can choose the colors that are going to work. And I've showed how I have all my variegated threads and DMCs, both where I can have them on almost like a color wheel with the baggies that they're in. So I'll link a video below on how I do that as well, because that's why I love sharing. Like if I found something that I love, you might love that too. So if you're this far into the video, we're a half hour into it, and I have to just say, looks like I've been beaten up. And I've shared on the other videos, because the minute I decided I was going to re-enter after a year to doing the videos, I finally got into the dermatologist after several years of not being able to get into the dermatologist with much sun damage on this old girl. All of a sudden, she's doing the freeze off stuff. And then, like, I'm sure this is going to be TMI for some of you, but for the others that think it's fun or funny or can make. All right, so it's happening again. I was showing about this stupid treatment that I've had on my skin, and the video stopped. And I had just said, maybe this is TMI. And I think my camera just decided, I can't bear it. Anyway, it just stopped. So we'll start again. And that's why I'm going to have high neck stuff for a while. I've got marks on my skin from bad stuff coming up. But here we are. So, and then when I think I need to get more storage, because I couldn't find the video that was just happening. And I thought, all right, there's not going to be a St. Patrick's Day video. So I think I want to wrap this up before my camera just freaks out because it doesn't have enough storage. So my other thing, I'm looking around. The other thing that the robin stuff, we're just going to go with all the bird stuff. So another freebie, this is your time. Another Not Forgotten Farm. Like I had said before, I think I've stitched about half of hers. So this next one is my gift from Farmhouse Not Forgotten Blogspot. And I'll put all the colors in, but I've been working I started this last year, and oh, let me just show it to you. I started this, and now I may come back because I'm realizing I keep looking at the holes in the the little eye sockets. I think I'm going to pop a black cross in there. And I may do this, like this is roasted fig, because there was no called for. There was just a picture. And there was a color picture, but I printed it in black and white. So I had to keep looking at the picture because I loved it. And I came up with some colors. So I'll put those down below. But this was roasted fig. And this was green tea leaf in the center. But I wanted to play around with it. I had a few silks, and they are really fun to stitch with. Sometimes I think, what's the big deal? Like when I'm trying to choose colors, I'll look at them and it's like, they're fine. It's how you stitch with it. Just like when you stitch with wool applique, your needle just goes through like butter. The wool is very good for your needle. It cleans it, but it stitches beautifully. Like when I did that wool applique. The same thing with the silks. They just glide through because they're silkier, go figure, and they don't have the friction that the cottons do. So as I was stitching this one, I'll put in there what it was. I want to say it's like Bronze Age. And yeah, I even see like all the white kind of that shows through. I see that. But it was so beautiful to stitch. And actually in real life, the color tones are much better than they're kind of washed out because I do this right in front of my big window. But the door was called for with one of these colors. But I thought at our cabin that we had a black door because it matched the trim. So I tend to want to do black doors, but I may undo that and I may do the roasted fig, and then I may pop their eyeballs in. But I really like that one. I like how it turned out, and I love that roasted fig. The roasted fig that I had worked great. And so I'll pop all the details of the threads below, but I wanted to share with you too. So this is the other thing of, let me know questions that you have. And this is what I would really like to be able to share with you guys, how I come up with my stitching boxes, because that's my new obsession. When we lived up in the mountains at that cabin, we had a couple fun little junk stores, thrift stores, antique stores. And this was because loving boxes is nothing new. So I picked up this box. It was $20. That's how my mom used to always say it, $20. And it's missing this. So I was even playing around. Like, this is from this purse that, unless I can fix my favorite purse, the other handle broke. And so I may use that for this, or I may make something out of wool or something for a handle. Because look at this. It is an old art box. So look at, I unlock that. And so this may work perfectly. Oh, and I should probably show you why I think it's going to work perfectly. Because it's a cool size. But, you know, it's funny, as I was doing this, I thought, oh, that looks cool. It matches, but it's almost too matchy-matchy. So I'm playing around with mounting this on a very, very thin thing. Like, I could do green chenille, but I also have so much fabric that I may mount it on this, a fabric with that color, just as the edging. It would have to be really thin. So that's where I'll show you. Maybe if I get it figured out, or maybe it will just never get done, or maybe it will be on something else. But that's where I was thinking on this, because look at this. This is so cool. Let's see if I can do it this way. So it opens like this, and I've played around with it. I may take that out because that was super loud. So I've been playing around with this because I have some of my great-grandmother's needlepoint, and I may put that here, but this is why it's so fun. And I play around with this all the time. So you take this off, and that's why it's hard to show you. Like, if you were hanging out with me, I'd have this on my lap and just showing you, but you're not, so I can't. So this is one of those things where artists put this on their thumb. And my sister's an artist, so I'm gonna have to ask her, like, would you actually put paint on this? This is finished. I don't know, or glue something on there. How the heck am I gonna show this to you? So this goes right here, because like I am determined to show you this. I bound and determined to show you how this is going to work. Maybe I better figure that out for myself first, but somehow, sorry for you guys with headphones, I have these amazing headphones now, and I can hear everything. Like when I watch other FlossTubers, I can hear their laundry going in the back. And I was telling my son, it was so freaky because they're Bose noise canceling headphones. They're amazing. So I put them on, and I'm cooking in the kitchen, and we have wood floors. And I was watching, I think Rhonda, I think it was you, Asbury's Echoes. And somebody was walking in the background. And I thought I was alone in the house. And I thought, whoa, I whirled around. And I thought, who is in my house? It wasn't. It was the video. It was funny. Okay, so, but yeah, the banging's here. Okay, so somehow, let's just get on that. Somehow that clicks, this little thingy clicks over there. And then you look at all these cool things. So what am I going to do with all these things? That's going to be so fun, but perfect stitching box. And then when this thing gets, this bang bang thing, that thing could also, it has, it has that thing that locks it down there. So that way, if I have little stitchy thingies down there, that actually locks it in. So I actually could pick it up and carry it, which of course, this was made for artists. They would have paint and all that kind of stuff down there. One more thing to show you, and then I'm off on my walk. Oh no, of course, two more things to show you. Okay. So as far as the stitching boxes and me playing around with things and how I do things, this is one that I have shared before. So this box, I love that. I just love that. And I share all about it on another video. So I'll share that with you. But I was trying to figure out what can I do, because that looks cool, but that does not. So what did I already have going that I can use? And there's Basket of Honeysuckle, a freebie by Pinker and Pumpkin. And I started stitching it. So this is what we got going here. But this is the thing. I'll show you in a minute why I wanted to do this red, even though she always stitches hers in DMC, which I will then transform it. I don't know what the right word is, to variegated threads. And sorry guys, variegated threads. And I really love how these threads were working out, but it was kind of like bold. In her picture, they were two DMCs close together, but I thought, B-skeps, we're going to make them like this. And then as I was stitching them, I thought, those are looking weird. And I was really into an audiobook, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep stitching. I got to find out what happens, and I'll figure it out later. So then I looked at her actual picture, and this was supposed to be done in a dark brown or black. But this is how Crazy Bonnie thinks. So why did I do this one red? And this is Country Redwood. And I think I'm probably going to take it out. But this is why I wanted to do it. This, again, Lori, this is like the Lori Brecklin hour. This is Basket of Cheer. I even got that pattern out somewhere. It's Basket of Cheer. And since I'm showing it to you, I'll put all the details in. I am going to show it to you because I know I had it. Basket of Cheer. See, mine was almost exactly like hers, except I used the Country Redwood. And you can see why I did that, because dark to light, dark to light. Anyway, I loved this, and I liked it so much I thought, oh, I'm going to make something else like it. So I used the same. This was, I don't know, sheep something or other. I'll put it in there. But it wasn't dark enough, so I tea-dyed it. So this is not the original fabric, but I just like how it turned out. And so I thought, oh, if one's not enough, I got to do another one. So that's why I wanted to do this. Similar basket, but different. Similar, but different, but cool. So I wanted to do it red, just thinking these were going to work out. And what I may do, I've played around with where I threw, what is that one? Garden Gate on here. And I thought, oh, that does look better. So I'm going to finish it, and then I'll decide, do I want to take it out? Because that basket looks super cool. So I'll figure it out, but that's how I play around with what's going to go on a box and then what's going to go inside. Oh, and this is the fun thing too about why I do these stitchy boxes, because I got a lot of stuff and I want them to have purpose. So this was a scrap. I talked about, for you quilters, why I adore scraps of fabric. This was a cool fabric I had from long ago. I mean, I would have bought the whole bolt if I realized how cool it was. And I thought, oh, that's perfect. And I think I'll turn it into a needle keep, pin keep, needle minder. It's time to go for a walk. Okay. Last thing I want to show with you. Oh, girl, take a breath. The last thing I'm going to share with you, but I was thinking, oh, I watched, and I didn't respond. I need to make a comment because I watched the last video of Rhonda Asbury Echoes. She was showing how she makes buttons, and I thought, oh, I need to get all the stuff. And I thought, that's the old Bonnie. You don't need to get all the stuff. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, you do. That's the crazy. But anyway, I'll link Rhonda's video so you can see. And I may do a button, but since I don't have button stuff, I may also just do a flat fold in the back by nothing. So I usually don't go shopping much, but because I wanted to decorate for St. Patrick's Day and I knew I had very sparse stitching, I could have and probably should have just done it on that cute little thing I have all my Valentines up on still. But I love doing it out on the sideboard. And it's funny, in the pictures, you'll see my kitchen reflected in the background. And I've got this blue countertops. They're great countertops, but I don't like the color and I don't like the backsplash. But for now, it is what it is. But you see it in the mirror. There's no way around it. But I love showing how I decorate. So that's what you would see if you were here. But I wanted to decorate for St. Patrick's Day, and I love pulling things together. And I thought I can stitch more, but I thought I don't want to. This year I just didn't want to stitch St. Patrick's Day. Like I said, I wanted to get on to patriotic and I'm finishing off things too. So I thought I will just go to our main street has several cute vintage shops and antique shops. Vintage, antique, same thing. And I had remember seeing a green jar there before, and I only bought one. There was a set of 3 and I only bought one. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll go back because that would be cool. Maybe I'll go back and get another jar or 2 of green. But I thought, oh, let's see what other green things, because on Pinterest I have a whole board of everyday decorating, and I love the dishes. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun if I found some green dishes? And I've always wanted a bone dish. So I could not believe it when I found this. So you would have already seen it in the video, but it was actually, I've seen different bone dishes, and my friend explained them to me. In the days where you had lots of china, you would have your dish here, and if you were eating something with little bones, instead of putting it on that plate, you would put it in its own little thing. So this is a bone dish. And I've always wanted one, but I've seen them and they've been just like goofy prints, but this was actually perfect. It was $9. It was green and it was a bone dish. So I loved that. And then I just threw some other things in there with it. And then I found a couple things, but you'll see it. The green and white bread box and a green book and something else green. Oh, a little silver tureen that I actually need. It's tarnished. I need to clean it. So in future videos, I was making a list of things that I can share with you. Like I have a lot of finishes that you haven't even seen any of that I will share when they make sense. And I thought, what else could I share with you now that I'm able to take pictures instead of awkwardly trying to show you the box and all that. Now that I'm actually taking the time to take a picture and show you how I decorate, which my decorating now is way, way different than I ever did before. Most of my house was kind of like this, where I had a lot of stuff everywhere. But when we moved, I got rid of tons of stuff. And I don't want to rebuy it. Like at the antique stores, it's like, I've had that, I've had that, I've had that. small things. And I kept some of them. Like I had blue ball jars, canning jars, old stuff. I kept several, and then I passed along the other ones. So I'm not going to regather what I had before. And I have found what gives me contentment, just having a little bit of some things, and then I change them around all the time. Like every Saturday morning, I do the floors of some sort, and then I'll dust something. And so sometimes every month I'll change things around, or sometimes weekly as I'm dusting, I'll think, oh, this can go over here or over there. So it's fun. And I thought, oh, I'll share with you my love of how I decorate with the few things that I have, but with my collections of things. And so that'll just be fun on future videos. So this is the end of the stitching stuff that I'm going to share. And now this is the good stuff. So I just decided that as I re-entered back into the FlossTube world again, this last month of February 2026, that I wanted to come back to you with my purpose. And my purpose is sharing the hope that I have found in an incredibly transformative year with those of you that want to follow along with me, and things that I found helpful. And then I said I was going to share things kind of chronologically as they helped me at the time, how I got into codependent recovery and healing from emotional pain. And then I said, oh, just watch those videos along the way. And I thought, if I really believe this is God's purpose in my life right now, to share my hope of my healing, and I've been playing with editing, now I'm going to be having little videos, probably not little, videos, why am I doing this? I don't know, called Just the Good Stuff. So I've already made a little intro video, and I'll be posting that soon. Just the good stuff. So where I edit out this portion, and I'll put it in with several other ones, but not trying to do too much. And it was really hard. I wanted to do kind of an explanation. So for those of you that watch Log Cabin Stitcher, and when a new video comes up, it's like, oh, I'll watch you. Sometimes my quilting people will watch cross stitching, and sometimes my cross stitching people will watch quilting. But I thought this would be more purposeful. But for someone that just pops on that video for the first time and will be like, what the heck is going on with her face? Because it really shows up in that video that I did the little intro. It just tells you a little bit about what these new things are. So those are there. But it was really hard because the reason that I did this transformation was from incredible emotional pain that I had been in. Why am I smiling? It's just what I do. Like, I also cry, but I don't want to do that right here. But anyway, there we go. So, oh, what I was saying is it was really hard doing that. And then I was going to share a bigger part. I always want to share tons. And I thought, okay, no, that was enough. We'll just pop that on, and then we'll finish it here. So here is the rest of what I was saying on that little intro video. And I got emotional. So I thought, okay, well, it's enough of that, and we'll see how we go now. So let me get in the mindset of what I was sharing, because I wasn't laughing. So I had been sharing at the beginning of that Just a Good Stuff video was why I share about the good stuff at the end. And I had decided if I'm doing a video channel, it's my channel. Just like if someone comes in my house, they're gonna get me and all that I share. That's where I'm sharing. If I love stitching and I love Jesus, I'm gonna share them both. And then just sharing about why I'm doing this now with more purpose. And as I was going through my stuff last year, I was learning a lot. And so I want to share my resources, and I've shared those books along the last few. The other things that I did was watched videos specific to my concerns. And one of those that I was watching was about when a lot of it was women healing from emotional pain. They often transform that into something purposeful. And so sometimes people said, you know, that's why a lot of people choose to get into therapy, not just go to therapy like I do, but be therapists or be case manager or be something in a field because it's transformed them. And I thought, well, what am I willing to do? What am I already doing? I'm already sharing the good stuff. So this is why I'm sharing more. And the part that I was getting emotional about, and I had written stuff out because I wanted to be able to share it clearly, but I think I can do that now. Because anything you put out on any social media could be there forever, and it could be used for better or for worse. So I was thinking, I want this to be my legacy. I want my stitching. Yes, that's me. And, you know, people will get stuff unless it all burns down. People will get stuff after I'm gone, just like I got my mom's stuff. Well, but I also got much of me is because of my mom. And much of who I am is from her imprint on my life. So I would like this, the good stuff, to be my legacy. How God delivered me out of the pit where I was literally probably 4 months out of 2025, much time spent on the floor, curled up in a ball with my dog next to me in the smallest room that I had, which is my closet here. A mess. Sometimes journaling, sometimes wailing, sometimes just, I don't want to be here anymore. And I called it walking through the valley of the shadow of death. It was horrible, but it's where I hit bottom. So Resurrection Sunday, Easter 2025, I hit rock bottom. I got to a point, there was a certain situation, and I thought, wow, it's no longer a gray area. I can actually see, oh, there's bigger dynamics going on that I have no clue how to deal with this stuff. And so curled up on the floor, bawling, and deciding, enough. God has created me. He has an answer for me too. And that's where I can kind of look back and see from my very dark place, figuratively, I don't know if that's the right word, in a sense, on that day, Resurrection Sunday, I reached up and was like, Jesus, I don't got this. I need you. And now I can look up and imagine reaching up. So that Resurrection Day is celebrating he rose from the dead, scars on his hand and his feet, and he has delivered me. So there's words to a song that I'm going to read to you. It's called Scars by I Am They is the group. This is my story. And I have a playlist, a huge playlist on Spotify. And this is one of the songs. So we'll see if I can make through without crying. But like, this is my story. Waking up to a new sunrise, looking back from the other side, I can see now with open eyes, darkest water and deepest pain. I wouldn't trade it for anything, because my brokenness brought me to you, and these wounds are a story you'll use. So I'm thankful for the scars, because without them, I wouldn't know your heart. And I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever, I am thankful for the scars. Now I'm standing in confidence with the strength of your faithfulness, and I'm not who I was before. No, I don't have to fear anymore. So I'm thankful for the scars, because without them, I wouldn't know your heart. So forever, I am thankful for the, oh, and because this is so emotional, even when I was writing it out, I was messed up a little bit. So I'm going to start back. So I'm thankful for the scars, because without them, I wouldn't know your heart. And I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever, I am thankful for the scars. I can see how you delivered me in your hands, in your feet. I found my victory. I'm thankful for your scars. And with my life, I'll tell of who you are. So forever, I am thankful for the scars, because without them, I wouldn't know your heart. And I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever, I am thankful for the scars. It wasn't until about 3 weeks ago, I finally got to the point where I realized where I had come in my relationship with Jesus. I still don't have the answers for a tough situation, but I've put myself lined up with Jesus, who has the answers of my tomorrow. And it was finally, I think, a month ago, where I just saw who I am now and who I was before. And I'm so distractible. I've got ADD. I've got all these fun things. Yet it wasn't until I had hit bottom and got all these scars, not these ones, the emotional ones. And I would not have sought God with my whole heart, because I was done. I was done. And he said, "Not yet, daughter, not yet." And without that pain and the depth, I would not have reached out to God with the depth that I did. So that's my story. And that's the good stuff. And I was thinking, I am not who I was a year ago. And oh, a year from now, who will I be? So anyway, thankful for the scars. And I'm thankful for you guys who actually want to hear what I have to say. And for those of you that stay till the very end. I'm going to be going for a walk at one of my places that I haven't gone for a long time, but I went there one time before. It's called Sagebrush, I think. And I remember another time when I was trying to help my dad and it wasn't going well, and I went there and it was great. So I'm going to go there, and I want to share more with you guys too. So I'm going to share, maybe at the end of this video, a little clip of what I see when I go there. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for wanting to be part of my life. And thank you for those of you that stay for this section, wanting Jesus to come through for you in a way that he is just waiting to continue, and the way that he is coming through for me, and just the ability to share that with people, because that is my purpose. That is my purpose. I have come through the valley of the shadow of death, and I'm going to fear no evil because Jesus is with me. Thank you guys. I love you. I care about you. And goodbye.